Hi friends of EBikeitalia, I'm Phil, and today I'm here to test a new Italian electric motor, Music. Alright guys, I'm finally here in Mantova trying out the lightest motor by BIKEE Bike, and here we have Matteo, the owner, waiting for us. Hi Matteo.
Welcome to BIKEE BIKE.
1 kilogram and 700 grams for this little gem made in Italy, which almost fits in one hand. Let's ask the person who built and invented it directly. How can something so small be so powerful?
Well, the secret lies in the technology characterized by this small gear. Unlike traditional motors, where the movement output is at the crankset and therefore the chain ring, here we have a smaller cog from which the movement comes out. In traditional motors, we typically have a motor that runs between 3,000 and 4,000 revolutions. It's reduced with a series of gears down to the pedaling cadence, so at most 90 to 100 revolutions per minute, and then it's typically multiplied again, because from the chain ring, let's say a 36 to 20, up to the cassette, there's typically a multiplication. In this system with the small cog, we save a reduction stage and directly use the motor with the cassette in a direct ratio. And so this means there is one less gear train, one less reduction series, and therefore this results in a lighter and more efficient setup.
The second big question everyone asks is why it took so long to go from the first project I managed to test a long time ago, which made me believe in miracles, to the fateful distribution, that fateful moment of release.
Unfortunately, the timing didn't help, but with the lockdown, there were closed businesses and a rise in raw materials prices. Then we had to go through an industrialization process for what was at the time a prototype. Because what you essentially find is a prototype. So a very long process of opening the molds with companies and suppliers closed, and then not to overlook the increase in raw materials and the difficulty, because the goal is not only to produce an engine, but to produce an engine and stay within costs. Furthermore, always regarding the availability of components, we had to completely redesign the electronic board because some components became impossible to find. So we had to redesign the electronic board and consequently redesign all the engine management firmware.
Included in the kit, of course, there is the handlebar controller with an integrated display. But in the higher-end version, you get an actual smartphone with a fantastic app that you can download in all versions. Matteo will definitely discuss this better because I've seen it, and it's packed with features.
Sure, so this is the main screen where you can see there are 6 fields, but you can select only 4 if you prefer, and these fields are all customizable. So by swiping and dragging upwards, you get all the information we can add, for example, cadence, consumption, power, efficiency, engine snapshot, and so on. The torque, and then all the maximum values. There are so many details to get lost in. Then we have the lock. The lock provides the anti-theft function. So by locking it from the app with the lock, the system is basically locked. To unlock it, you need to reconnect with the app. And in every app, there's a unique pin, one for each motor, and this way you can unlock it. Otherwise, the motor becomes unusable. We have the light control.
Obviously, you have the lights. You can select the assistance directly from here. And now let's look at all the customization functions of the system. We have the customization of the acceleration ramp. So the higher it is, the smoother the motor will be when entering the deceleration ramp, making the deceleration smoother.
There's the push and go function, which allows you to get motor support even without pedaling. Just by placing your foot on the pedal, the motor starts to help for starting and restarting uphill. We also have the ability to customize the assistance curve. Thanks to the sensitivity of our force sensor, we can detect even small pressures that we apply on the pedal. So, for example, we can say, when I'm pushing with this force, I want the motor assistance to already be at 80%. Then a phase with constant assistance, and then when I really push hard, I want all the power of the motor. Or we can, for the lazier ones, set a curve like this where we get maximum assistance even with minimal effort. The last feature of the superior version is the ability to control the motor assistance based on heart rate. Basically, with the heart rate band that we provide, you can select the heart rate you want to maintain through the special app menu, and the app will adjust the motor assistance based on your heart rate.
Ultimately, let's try to understand this concept of equivalent torque, which might have caused some confusion within our group. A lot of curiosity. Because in the end, we were talking about equivalent torque and not real torque. When I tested it, it seemed to be one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful engine I had tried. The word back to you to understand how it can be so powerful.
To simplify as much as possible, it can be said that the final reduction stage is external to the engine. For example, let's compare it with a traditional engine where the torque is delivered to the chainring. We use a 36-tooth ring gear paired with a 12-tooth pinion gear at the rear to have 90 Newton meter on the 36-tooth ring gear. So 36 teeth in the front, 12 in the back, and a transmission ratio of 3:1.
Hence, our torque of 90 Newton meters here will transform into a torque at the wheel of 30 Newton meters. In this case, however, we have a motor pinion with 12 teeth from our motor,
Always paired with a 12-tooth rear sprocket, and in this case, we have 30 Newton meter of torque on this motor sprocket.
in this instance, the pairing will be 12 to 12, so the gear ratio is 1:1, meaning the 30 Newton meter from the motor sprocket will convert to 30 Newton meter each time, exactly like it would with a 90 Newton meter motor.
This is the concept of equivalent torque, meaning 30 Newton meters here are equivalent to 90 Newton meters here.
All right, guys. Once again, we had our presentations. I think we clarified as much as possible how the
Thanks to
engine
you.
works and what we can expect. In the next episode, we'll unleash it outside and see if all that glitters is gold, if there's no smoke but also fire. I can already tell you it was like that. I really expect great things from this motor. I invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, to eBikeitalia on Facebook, to give a thumbs up, and see you next time. Bye.